He's back on the show. It's been quite some time. Coming off that win against Stevie Ray, commentating on Contender Series. He's off to Virginia this evening. He's been a busy man. It's the Ginger Ninja, Mr. Paul Felder. Felder, how are you keeping, my friend? Good to have you back on the show. It's been a while.
Good to be back, man. It's hanging out with my daughter right now. We're watching some Peppa Pig before I go off to training. So it's a good day.
What's your favorite, Paul? Is it Peppa?
Peppa is definitely my favorite. I don't know what it is about Peppa Pig, but maybe it's the accents, but it cracks me up. I know every animal on here. I know their occupation, what they do. I know pretty much every episode. So
I'm used to them myself as well. My nieces and nephews having to watch all that kind of stuff. It's a bit of fun anyway. But listen to me, Paul. You're off to Virginia this evening. You just told me there before we came on. What's going on in Virginia?
I'm doing a military tour with the Joint Base down there. Sucker Punch set it up. It's me, Colby Covington, Misha Tate. We get to hang out with the troops there, see what they do, learn about what the Air Force and the Army do, and kind of shoot guns, raid buildings with them, watch the pay-per-view this weekend, and just get to kind of boost their morale a little bit. Some of them are finishing up their basic training. Some of them are coming back from Korea and all kinds of places and kind of protecting the world, and we get to just have fun with them for a few days.
Very cool. Very cool. So
yeah, it's cool.
You haven't had much time at home. Obviously, you've had Contender Series as well in Las Vegas. I met you last week. I was over at Contender Series for obviously after the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight. Talk to me about that experience. It's something obviously that you've done in the past with CWFC, but the reaction from the fans and the media, like everyone seems to have been giving you, especially, very high praise in that role.
Yeah, it was amazing, man, and especially that show, getting to watch all these guys who are kind of hungry and young and want their shot, fighting for one or two contracts. The last show we had 3 contracts given out, which was awesome. But I have an acting background. I went to school for theater, so being in front of a crowd and the camera is something that comes pretty natural to me, and I don't think a lot of people knew that coming into my career in the UFC. So once we made that known, they kind of jumped on it, gave me that audition. I booked the job and had a blast doing it, and I'm pretty sure it's coming back for another season. But I'll also be getting a chance to kind of step in and do some Fox Sports 1 stuff. I'll be at UFC Pittsburgh.
Brilliant.
And I don't know how announced that is yet, but I'll be involved a little bit there. Nothing big. I'm not taking over anybody's spot or anything like that yet, but I think I'll be dipping my toes in the water pretty soon. Will
you be in a color commentary role like you are in Contender Series, or will it be studio-based?
I don't know yet. I'm still figuring all that stuff out. I know I'll be there in Pittsburgh, so details to come. I got to figure out if they want to announce stuff or what's going on with it first.
Okay, so it's obviously with Brian Stan leaving the promotion, I'm sure there was obviously a lot of people on social media as well calling for you to maybe step in the Brian Stan role. That must be pretty cool as well, that the amount of people are actually, because Brian is one of the most highly thought of guys in the UFC, and to have your name mentioned with Brian.
Yeah, and I've been in there with him, and he's a very intelligent, obviously, with his Marine background and his fighting style, the way he fought, he was the man. So I kind of think I have my own interesting background with the acting coming from it. Obviously, he had the military, but we kind of both fight the same, where we just get in there and let it loose. So I'd be honored to eventually step in and take over some of his jobs. I don't know if I'll have the time as an active fighter to do quite as much as Stan was doing, but maybe I can fill in. Maybe they can kind of just cover the bases with a bunch of us. But man, it's an honor that people even considering that I would step in there for.
Does it make you hungrier almost? I know you haven't had a fight announced yet. We'll get that in a moment. But does it make you sort of hungrier, watching on the fights, commentating on the fights, give you that taste to want to get back in there more?
Yeah, when we were at the Contender Series at the Tough Gym, the day you were there, I kept getting in the octagon and just taking my shoes off and circling around in there. And it's been like 7 weeks since I had a fight, which is fine. But usually by now I kind of have at least I know who I'm fighting next, even if it's not announced in social media yet. So I'm itching.
You're
itching bad.
let's talk a little bit about the Stevie Ray fight. Obviously, a really impressive performance. You know, I spoke to you on fight week. I think it was a couple of days before the fight. Everything that you said pre-fight seemed to go exactly to plan. Was that one of the most flawless performances of your UFC career?
Yeah, kind of just all fell into place. I got out there. We knew he was going to shoot, and we thought he'd stand up a little more than he did. So it really all kind of fell into place like we expected. I mean, the whole camp we drilled takedown defense on the fence, you know, getting up off our butt if we got taken down, and working in that clinch over and over and over again. So when we fell right into that, it was like, holy crap, this is. And then when I heard him, I just couldn't believe it, man. I just got, I smelled blood and went for it. And when you're in the moment, it's weird too, because it seemed like further into the round even than it was. I thought there was only 10 seconds left. So if you see the sense of urgency I'm acting on, it's because I thought the round was almost over and I wanted to finish it. And I just, in my head, I was thinking, well, at least I won the round. But yeah, it went perfect. And you know, he's a good opponent, and now it's what's next? What's next is all I keep thinking. And that's what sucks about the fight game is I enjoyed that for probably the first few days after that, and then everybody's like, well, who's next? Well, top 10, top 15, what do you get? So
I think it was even that night in Glasgow. People were coming up to you
oh,
asking
the
what
whole
was
night.
next.
What's next? Who's next?
A name that was mentioned was obviously Joe Duffy, but it looks as though he's going to be matched up pretty soon anyway. Jim Miller's been mentioning things to you. We've also had another one that was mentioned. Who else was mentioned? Michael Johnson's been mentioned. You know, yeah. I saw a little bit of back and forth with you and Jim Miller on social media. What for you is the next? You know, would it be Miller? Would it be Johnson?
I mean, I like the Michael Johnson fight, but I heard that he wants to move down to 145.
Wow.
So I don't think that's going to happen.
He wants to move to 45.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah. That guy couldn't cut to 45.
I think
I'd be very
tough
surprised.
He's one of those in-betweeners where he's not a massive lightweight, but he's definitely big enough where another 10 pounds might kill him. And Miller, I think, you know, people forget, but we were matched up right after I fought Danny Castillo.
Yeah.
And I hurt my knee and had to pull out of the fight. So it's just kind of a fight that's been meant to happen for years. And he's a veteran. I know he's on a skid, but anytime you get a chance to fight a legend like Jim Miller, you know, I'd be down for it.
Definitely. You know, we're looking at the timeline, Paul. Obviously, you said you have some upcoming duties in October. I think that's the Pittsburgh card. You mentioned, when would be a perfect time for you to get back in there? Would it be New York at 2:17, along about that sort of time?
Yeah, as long as I find out soon. Anytime in November is cool, but I got to know soon just because I got to start getting my weight under control. And December 1st, the Ultimate Fighter finale would be a good date too. Any of those, any early December, late November is fine with me, or even early November. But they got to let me know ASAP.
I've seen you, as you said there, you need to know ASAP. It looks like you're getting a little bit itchy, a little bit frustrated because you haven't had an opponent announced. Has it been frustrating, maybe trying to get someone lined up and get someone over the line?
Yeah, it's always frustrating because, you know, you don't know what these other fighters are thinking because we don't get to talk to each other about it unless you call each other out on social media. So it's kind of like you don't know who wants me, who's mentioning that they want to fight with me, and you know, obviously we've mentioned names to my manager. We've talked to Sean. Sean's got his plate full, man. I know it's the lightweight division. First of all, is humongous, so I know it's tough to get us all matched and keep us all happy at the same time. So, as frustrated as I am, I also know that you know, it's difficult because of the size of the division and the amount of people that these guys have to match up. But let's go.
Definitely. How has it been for you as well? You know, we know your father passed away this year. Have you had that little bit of time to register everything together because you've been exceptionally busy?
Yeah. Like I said before, even when we were in Glasgow, it kind of comes and surprises me when I'm by myself a little bit or something will remind me. You know, when as Christmas gets closer, that'll be a time that'll be a lot harder because that was a big time for me and my family. We would always do Christmas Eve big party at my house. My dad would do a lot of cooking, and baking. Even though my mom, you would think that she'd be the one into that stuff. It's not. It was my dad that was the huge cook, and that's who got me into Food Network and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
Christmas time will be tough. Right now, it's just making sure my mom's okay, and she's a rock, so she seems okay right now.
Food Network, that's an interesting one. Just tell the guys when I was over in Glasgow, it's something you do before your fights and your weight.
Yeah.
You watch the Food Network religiously.
Yeah. Non-stop.
It's not as good in Glasgow, isn't it? Not?
No, it was different. It was different. Yeah, it wasn't. Everything over there wasn't as good.
That's very rude. We won't be having you back in Europe, Paul. There's Aisling.
Yeah, I'm gonna have her take over for the rest of it. Say hi.
Okay, Paul. Just a couple more. So you expect to get back in there pretty soon.
Yeah.
Any names? Anyone you'd particularly like to throw down? Is it Jimmy Miller? Is it Michael Johnson?
Yeah, either one of those guys.
Yeah.
I think Jim Miller's a good matchup. I think it's a fun fight for the fans. Obviously, me and him don't mind beating the crap out of each other and bleeding all over the place. So, if the UFC wants to fight it at night, don't match me and Miller up.
Good call. I'd love to see either of those fights. Paul, listen, my friend, always a pleasure having you on the show. Congratulations on the Contender Series and the upcoming roles. Can't wait to see you get back in there again. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Love being on the show, man. Thank you, bro.